we're going to be diving into what it means to be an archetypal healer, which if you're on this call tonight, this gathering space, chances are really good that you carry the archetype of the healer. And chances are good if you have a strong connection with Kuan Yin or Mary Magdalene or Mother Mary, or really any of the key codes of the Sophia code, you are a naturally inclined healer archetype. And one of the interesting things that we're doing at this time, in this lifetime, discovering our divinity through our tangible, human, very lifey daily experiences, we are discovering how much compassion is required for the marathon of personal healing that you and I signed up for in this lifetime. You know, we are literally healing up thousands upon thousands upon thousands of years of wounding, oppression, and projection on the divine feminine, both collectively. But how does all collective healing begin? It begins within ourselves first. It's an inside job to heal, as we learn about in the Stargate 1 curriculum of the Sophia Code. Healing the collective begins with, it's an inside job. It begins with healing our own hearts. It begins with becoming deeply intimate with our own wounding so that we can actually relate to the wounding of the collective, not only relate to it, but bring forth the medicine teachings, the divine feminine wisdom teachings of how to heal that collective wound because we successfully healed it in our own lives. I don't claim to be an expert in astrology at all. I find astrology fascinating art form that provides us blueprints for understanding which facets of our personal and collective consciousness that we are seeking to become fully present to and awaken to next. And one of the most interesting things I think that happened this year was the influence of Chiron shifted in February into a very long cycle. Not, again, I'm not an expert on the details of that, but I felt that shift deeply. I was in Hawaii doing a very long cleanse, being deeply guided by Quan Yin and Hathor and Mother Mary, and Green Tara, and how to physically heal my body from the vestiges of the trauma that I survived in the first half of my life, which had very serious implications upon my physical body. So I don't think there was any accident that I was doing this healing work in Hawaii when this shift with where Chiron was in our collective cosmology, how it's influencing our collective cosmology, was happening simultaneously. Earlier this week, I believe it was on Tuesday, the positioning of the moon was deeply impacted by Chiron. So this week you may have felt old traumas or old wounding that was calling you into an even deeper recognition of what wants to be loved within inside of you. So in astrology, Chiron is connected to the wounded healer archetype. And before we go and get all down, Debbie Downer about, oh, I don't want to talk about the wounded healer archetype. It's like, I get it. What is that archetype really presenting to us when those two words are put together? It's revealing to our consciousness, your greatest wounds are what initiate you as the greatest healer of that wound for others. So this week, we were each collectively and individually, we were called to go deeper into our own hearts. We were called to go deeper into our own inner cosmos. And yes, we were called to go deeper into wounding that would provide us greater medicine first for ourselves and then for others, but from a very authentic place. There's this Aries influence with Chiron over the next 7 years that's going to deeply impact your authentic relationship with yourself and how you present your most authentic self to the world. Now that might sound like, all right, that's awesome. That's what I always want. Nobody wants to be fake. Everybody wants to think of themselves as their most truest versions of themselves. But the reality is that our most authentic version of ourselves, our most authentic expression of ourselves, shall I say, is also our most vulnerable. It's also that is the heart of the wounding, really. When Chiron is asking us to step into a much more authentic expression of who we are, what Chiron is saying is, what are the wounds inside of you that come from experiences where you didn't feel accepted for who you are? Your most authentic version of who you are could have happened on the playground. It could have happened in the classroom, could have happened in a church building, could have happened in your home with your parents or with relatives, could have happened with a best friend that wasn't a best friend anymore. These experiences can manifest in any kind of scene in the movie of our life. But the underlying narrative is, the wounding arises from, it's not possible for me to be accepted for my most authentic expression and my most authentic beingness of what my soul wants to say, what my soul wants to feel, what my soul wants to embody in human form. When we contract, believing that it's unsafe to be our most authentic self, we start to gnaw on ourselves. We start to chew on ourselves. We start to beat ourselves up. We internalize the punishing experience that we externally have with others in an effort to control ourselves in such a way that the mask, the facade of like a veneer, an outer representation of what we think is perfect. We're hoping that outer mask of perfection can keep others from seeing our most authentic, vulnerable self. And Kuan Yin is the ultimate mentor for guiding us into this journey that Chiron is literally breaking us down from. If you can resist it over the next 7 years, good luck with that. It's going to be a heck of a lot harder for you. Or you can get the memo from the universe, hey, Chiron and Aries, time to go super deep with your most authentic self, and no one else is going to be able to give you the most authentic answer about who you really are, because only you can find that out for yourself, number one. And number two, only you can appreciate yourself, your most authentic self, first, the way you deserve to be appreciated and loved, which can then magnetize and harmonize you with the external reality of others coming in and saying, hey, there is no resistance in your belief system to being treated with the highest love, support, and respect for your most authentic self. Can I come and be a part of your reality and treat you the same way that you're treating yourself? I mean, that's a gem right there. I mean, talk about what a wonderful heaven on earth reality that would be for all of us to live. Imagine every single person in your life reflecting that back to you. How can I support you? How can I be helpful? How can I enjoy you? How can I appreciate you? Our wounding, our unresolved wounding, keeps us from receiving those kind of experiences, because our unresolved wounding makes us feel as though we have to hide, contract, and isolate ourselves from the loving gaze of others. Very often our deepest woundings about our authentic self come from traumas or punishments or rejection or abandonment that programs us to think that we deserve to keep being abused or punished by others, which become repetitive cycles throughout our life, manifesting in all different weird areas of our life until we wake up and get it. And we're like, oh my God, I'm not really upset with my coworker about what I think I'm upset about. I'm getting deeply, subtly triggered by this coworker because fill in the blank, something happened 10 years ago that's still hanging out inside of me. Doesn't mean it excuses bad behavior. It just means it's really important over the next 7 years, as always, but very, very much so over the next 7 years, to take the triggers as cues of where you can go within to discover the spiritual gold of your most authentic, vital, real, raw self, which is that gold that you're seeking. It is the communion that you're seeking, that I'm seeking, that we're seeking. It's the communion that we're seeking with our own divinity. What I have personally found is that my wounds, that the continual journey into the continual healing journey into the wounds that I carry in this lifetime are always bringing me the most wonderful gifts of humility, wisdom, temperance, hope, faith, creativity. It's like the depth of presencing that can happen when you step into what's blocking you, and you don't blame others. You really just sit with, like, I feel frustrated, or I feel angry, or I feel really hurt, or I feel abandoned, or I feel out of control. It's just like, if you can sit with it, it's so sobering, enlightening, and empowering all at the same time. It's like all the light switches can go on, get flipped on inside of you if you just sit with it long enough to accept that it is happening. You don't have to figure it out. You don't have to stop feeling your feelings if you decide to tune into the wound. I mean, depending on the wound, you can't even try to stop the feelings. It's going to be there until it's going to be there, until it has the resolution that it's seeking. Every wound is seeking the resolution of, are you ready to love me now? Are you ready to love me from this perspective? Are you ready to love me even though this happened? Are you ready to love me even though you feel deficient in this? Are you ready to love me even though you haven't accomplished that? That's what the wounds are asking. They're always asking you, are you ready to love yourself more? Now, in the journey of learning how to love yourself, it can feel confusing. You might feel like, I don't have a roadmap for loving myself, Kaia. I don't know what you're talking about. I want to learn how to love myself, but I can't feel love for myself, or I can't feel hope for myself, or I can't feel faith for my future. And it's like, don't worry about it. I get it. There are many people walking this earth, myself included, for most of my life, where I couldn't even feel most of my feelings because I had been so deeply crushed by the traumas that I had survived. And it was actually working with ascended masters such as Quan Yin and healing angels and archangels that steadily, like, chipped away at the walls, the defensive walls, the what we call in psychology controlling coping strategies, where you don't even know when you're subtly trying to control an outcome or be codependent because you have this unresolved wound and you're too afraid to touch into it. It's like these masters of light know all of the subtle ways that we play games on ourselves, that our ego structure tries to circumvent and spiritually bypass true, authentic journeys through our wounds to get to the medicine of those wounds. I think one of the greatest teachings that I have received in my life from Quan Yin's chapter in the Sophia Code And I knew the teaching before I wrote that chapter, but something about writing the chapter and reading it and seeing other people integrate it as well really helped me integrate it in a new way, which is that it's not, first of all, it's not possible to heal everything all at once. Your whole life, all your lifetimes, everything that's ever happened in this life and everything that's ever happened in every parallel lifetime you're living, it's what Kuan Yin really impresses upon us is that this is a journey. And just because you're at one stage of your healing, like, have you ever looked at where you are now? Think about where you are now and think about who you were even a year ago, because our experience of time is changing and everything is accelerating. Think about where you were only a year ago and think about where you are now. Night and day, right? So the question is, are you going to judge yourself for who you were a year ago? Or are you going to thank yourself because who you were a year ago is how you are who you are today? So one of the greatest offerings that I've personally received from the presence of Kuan Yin and her water teachings is it's safe for your healing journey to be a journey. Many light workers want to sweep under the rug the truth that we're all healing from something, and that they think they have to be perfect to be leading others or making an offering. Like it has to be all healed up and with a nice pink bow, and they just, there's just nothing left here to heal, but I can help you heal because I've done a bunch of healing work. I'm this perfect channel. It's just like, why would anyone want to claim that for themselves? Kuan Yin certainly didn't. If you read her chapter, when the angel of the Great Commission comes and asks her to leave the jungle and return to the people, she was shaking in her boots. It wasn't, when she met the Sophia dragon at the end of her chapter before she goes back to the people, there was an entire emotional layer of fear that she was purifying herself from, like full body fear. This was after sitting with Babaji in meditation for 7 years, healing her life in isolation in the jungle. She still had miles to go in her journey. Does that mean she was any less of a divine being? Absolutely not. Kuan Yin was, her divinity, your divinity, my divinity, our shared divinity is an immutable, invincible quality of our soul. No matter what you've experienced in your human form, no matter what you're healing from in your journey of healing, nothing can change the perfection of who you already are. Nothing can change the perfection of your soul. And Kuan Yin wants to remind us this evening from her book that you can have all of your feelings, you can have all of your wounding, and you can still be gathering your medicine from those wounds. And you can still be offering that medicine to others. And as you make the offering of your healing and of your self-love to others, it can come back to you 1,000 times over in blessings for the wonderful work that you've done, which is setting you up for the wonderful work that you're about to do. What I have discovered in my mentorship with Kuan Yin is, and through my own personal healing human experience, is that we as earth angels, we as light workers, beat the crap out of ourselves almost all day long. And unfortunately, that's what this planetary matrix wants for you to do, because that's what it's programmed for you to buy into, that you're not good enough, that you're not perfect enough, that you don't know enough, that you're not educated enough, that you're not healed enough to make, to love yourself, first of all, and then to also help others learn how to love themselves as well, which is really what spiritual leadership is. And it's up to us to change that programming over the next 7 years. That's what's happening right now. That's the good news of this Chiron and Aries shift that we're experiencing, that we've been experiencing since February, and that we will continue to experience moving forward for quite some time. This opportunity to decide, oh, what if everything I've experienced is part of my most authentic embodiment. I can't tell you how many emails I get of people thanking me for my authentic healing experiences and journey. The emails are not like, I think you're the most perfect person. They're like, no, thank you for being this real. Because now I'm realizing that I can do this too. I can heal my life too. And that's what I got from Quan Yin. Yeah, and a lot of my elders that taught me as well. It's a very pivotal moment in my life. Is just like, hey, it's not about being perfect. It's about being perfectly you. And I want to go back to that piece. I'm hearing Kuan Yin say, when I was thawing out in my life and I couldn't physically feel love for myself, love was a concept. Love was what I saw when I tuned into the heavenly realities. I saw the love of the angels. They would see the love of the ascended masters. They would see the rays of love. You can actually, through your third eye, see the energy of love in different colors and waves of light and energy that you can feel. But what was interesting was that I couldn't let it into my heart and into my body for many, many years. I was just too trauma stricken to open the doors of my heart and open my feeling body to accept. I couldn't even feel my body for at least half of my life. I could touch it like this, but I wouldn't feel anything. That's how deep this went for me. So I want everyone on this call to know that you can't feel love for yourself. There's nothing wrong with you. All right. It just means you're at a specific moment in your healing journey. And it doesn't have to be like that forever. Maybe you can feel love for yourself, but you're like, I don't know how to feel more love for myself. I want so much more for myself. And I keep coming up against this glass ceiling of how to feel more loving acceptance for myself. One of the beautiful teachings that we receive in the Stargate 1 curriculum from Kuan Yin is like, can you just be present there? Can you not make yourself wrong about that? What if that just wasn't a problem? What if that was loving yourself? What if just, okay, this is where I'm at, and there's got to be some perfect plan guiding me in this moment? What if that could be the love that is a thought that you hold like a flame in your mind, and then that flame can begin to warm your mind and maybe even begin to warm your heart and maybe even begin to warm your body? Our intentions are very, very powerful. Just because you might not be able to feel the amount of love or any love at all for yourself at this moment in your journey, that's not a forever thing. If you want it to change, you can make the prayer. You can hold the intention. You can hold the sacred flame for yourself, and Kuan Yin will help you hold that sacred flame with you. That you want to feel volumes upon volumes of love for yourself. And so in this journey of the wounded healer archetype, we often look to people outside of ourselves to fill in the void that we can't seem to access for ourselves. And that can create all sorts of codependent complications that we've all had to navigate, and maybe we're all still navigating in one way or another, doing the best we can every day, right? But with the help of the Ascended Masters, Kuan Yin in particular, this is why I've loved the Ascended Masters so much. The Ascended Masters of the Sophia Dragon Tribe. I can't speak for all cosmologies that are out there because everyone's channeling from a different place. But I know that the Sophia Dragon Tribe and the masters that represent this codex are truly unconditional. They have no agenda other than for you to discover the master within you. And when it comes to self-love, Kuan Yin's teachings are that there's a part of you, of your higher self, that is a master of invincible innocence. And that master is known as Keycode 444 in the Sophia code. It's the phoenix child within you. It's that aspect of yourself that knows your most authentic expression, knows your deepest places within your heart, knows how you like it, how you need it to be for yourself, but not expecting anyone else to do that for you, but for you to give it to yourself. It's also a creative genius aspect of yourself that knows how to push against reality and how to weave reality to create the life that is going to offer you your greatest healing and your greatest prosperity. Again, it's not going to happen all at once. You're not going to eat, as Abraham Hicks says, you're not going to eat all the meals you're ever going to eat in one lifetime in one meal. You wouldn't be able to digest it all. But you're on this journey where, when you're guided by the invincible innocence of your inner child's creative genius, protection, and really authentic truth-telling honesty, your life begins to be rearranged according to a plan for you to prosper in all ways. But that does require surrendering to a listening and allowing, a deepening and a softening into a relationship with your own heart and your own heart's prayer. Very often when we start to touch into our heart, and listen to the voice of our heart, as Mother Mary teaches us in her chapter of the Sophia Code, we touch in and then we go, oh boy, that's just really deep waters there. I don't know how long I can hang out there. I'm going to go talk to somebody else about what they think that my heart really needs or wants, or how my heart can heal. And maybe they have some good ideas, and it's just like, oh, you were just there for a second and your heart could have told you everything. Can you slow down? Can you soften? Can you allow enough space and time between you and you so that this communion can deepen and more information can be revealed, not just about who you really are, but about what your most authentic expression of who you really are needs in this lifetime, and how to create, how to receive, how to allow for what you need to come into your life to be co-created. Very often when we are dealing with our wounds, we kind of create by default. We create out of panic. We create out of drama. We create out of events sort of exploding around us. And that's still creation. It's not about bad or good, but it is a maturity wise or mastery wise, it's a level 1 way of creating through your wounds. It's just like, I'm not willing to go really deep with some of these questions, so I'll just sort of let it fester inside of me, and then something's going to explode or change, and I'm going to be shocked into the awakening that I need. That's where Kuan Yin was at when Babaji met her, found her in the jungle. She was about to kill herself. She was so depressed about her experience with life. And when Babaji came in, it was just like there was this crisis, shocking, awakened moment that happened for her, to start clearing the shame and the self-blame for something that happened to her that was, perpetuated against her. And there was no way she could have controlled that outcome. And so she was so deep inside the internalized punisher, she couldn't proactively create that journey into her wounds. Her wounds had her by the horns, just throwing her around, shall we say. And when we step into a more proactive understanding that, okay, my wounds are here for a reason. It's not because I'm a bad person. It's because they have medicine that my higher self thought was a really cool idea to give to myself and others. These wounds are actually a gift in disguise, a gift of medicine, wisdom, healing light, new blueprints of awakening, maybe even new technologies, spiritual technologies, or physical upgrades to our, different things that you can create or design for our physical life that makes physical life more enjoyable or healthy or balanced. It's just like our wounds literally are a temple into some of our greatest offerings and most empowering expressions that we can embody in this lifetime. And it's important to remember that when you touch into those wounds, it's going to take tenacity, courage, willingness, perseverance, prayer, meditation to stop the reaction and step into some type of response. Does that mean you're going from like some sort of dramatic reaction to some sort of perfect response overnight? No. Sometimes shifting from the reactive approach to life into the responsive approach to life, it happens in like shades of a color, you know, maybe from red to bright pink. It's just like one shade at a time. Oh, I did that a little bit better this time. Oh, I didn't totally fly off the handle this time. Oh, wow. Actually, I proactively thought ahead that maybe in 3 months from now, this might unfold. So maybe I should start working on this now. That's very different than just sort of being tossed around by the circumstances created in your life of unresolved wounding. So Kuan Yin is inviting us into this journey of very empowering self-discovery through the wounded healer journey into, it's weird that the term has become so loaded in our spiritual culture, but it's just a reminder that the healer comes out of the wound, right? Our most awakened, activated expression of why we're here as healers comes out of those wounds, the spiritual gold of those wounds. And it's not a destination, it's a journey. So when I want to talk about a practical way that you can connect with Kuan Yin, because what I have found is really interesting. Kuan Yin is a very, very, very powerful mentor. And if you actually spend a lot of time with her, you find out that she's far more fierce than what most people would consider her to be. Her light is, there's a reason why we called her light in the Sophia code a piercing diamond, a piercing white light. When I channeled that chapter and I channeled her initiation, it was as though her piercing white light was cutting through my pupils. I mean, and literally like doing surgery on my mind and my perception of how I saw myself, how I saw my experiences of trauma, how I saw my experiences of different relationships that I was in that were very painful. And the presence of Kuan Yin is like a laser, but if you let yourself receive it, it falls like cherry blossoms on your mind simultaneously. And I think that is the magic, the dragon magic of Kuan Yin. It's like she's softening you with water, and water, depending on how much of it, can feel very light, or it can feel monumental depending on a body of water coming towards you. Either way, it's going to soften you. And so what Kuan Yin is continually guiding us in is how to surf the ferocity that is sometimes, very often actually required in our healing journey, the ferocity that's required to really look at our stuff, to really choose to go within instead of like lash out, to really breathe deeper into the lessons that are unfolding and pausing and considering, maybe I'm co-creating this through a wounded space. Whatever the experience is that is unsatisfactory. And okay, maybe that's happening. Can I forgive myself? Can I love myself enough to let that be okay and let the deeper inquiry happen simultaneously? And so when Kuan Yin steps in, her as your mentor, very often I find that people are so afraid of facing their stuff that they kind of keep Kuan Yin at an arm's distance. Like, I'll get to Kuan Yin eventually. I'll get to Keycode 6 eventually. Funny enough, it's like one of the most theatrical, amazing chapters in the Sophia code. It's like, I remember releasing the Sophia code and thinking, I wonder who's going to get to chapter 6. Because you have to really go through it to get, to get to Kuan Yin's chapter 11, we choose Keycode 6, because you really have to go through so many initiations to arrive to chapter 11, where you meet Quan Yin and her revelation. So, but what does that represent? All of those initiations that you're going on through to heal your life in the sacred text of the Sophia Code, you are literally you're pulling out all of those old beliefs with Isis so that you can feel really strong and powerful to actually grasp the multidimensionality of your true self that Hathor is teaching you about. And once you get even a clue of how multidimensional you are, you're in the cosmos with Green Tara, discovering that you're this incredible vessel for Sophia's divine feminine and divine masculine Christ transmissions, and that those transmissions, that light, that kundalini, that cosmic prana, is what's awakening you to Mother of Mary's message that you have to open up your heart and be seen in your purpose and be seen as this embodiment of a Christed consciousness. And then you're guided into these initiations with Mary Magdalene and all these angels of self-mastery. And up until that point, it's just very strong and adult, and it's like, yeah, I got this. I'm growing my angel wings. I'm stepping into my spiritual maturity. And then you meet Kuan Yin, and she's like, oh, you think you're so tough? You think you're so strong? You think you're so cool? How long can you sit with your inner child for here at my waterfalls? Oh, wait, 30 seconds and you're done and you should be healed. And this little 5-year-old next to you, there's nothing left to say. Interesting. Isn't it? Yeah, there's so many people that come to this container and come to this mystery school, I think hoping for some sort of like sexy relationship with the Ascended Masters. And you can have that. There's nothing wrong with it, but it's not helpful to anyone if you can't be truly authentically vulnerable with yourself, your inner child, your own heart, and how getting really real about how much you actually love yourself. Because no matter, you know, how much you can channel information or how much you can, you know, wave a sage stick or a fan in a ceremony or sit in the most perfect meditation for 5 hours, if you can't have compassion for yourself, it's like it's only going to help people so much. It's just setting them up for some idea that they have to be perfect to be like you. And that's not the message of the Sophia Code container. The message that Kuan Yin is offering us at her waterfalls of Kruta compassion is, you can be your most glamorous, wonderful, embodied, most successful, prosperous self. Please do it through self-love. And please do it through your most authentic, self-accepted version of yourself. That's really good news, actually. It's what's gotten me to this point in my career, and it's what's got me to this point in this ministry, to be able to sit here and have this conversation in such a calm way with each of you, you know? It's like, that was what people, it was the discovery from Kuan Yin that was like, oh, that's why everyone worships Kuan Yin around the world, whether they know it or not. What she survived, and then how her willingness to be so real with what she survived, to truly love herself in such deep and profound ways without, you know, dismissing or minimizing what she was feeling about the whole journey. It was like, that's why people unconsciously love her so much, because they're saying, oh my God, if she can love herself that much, that's giving me permission to do the same. Even if I can't feel it or I don't know how to go about it, it looks like there's a pathway there for me that I could actually find and love and accept myself in that same way. Really, with channeling, with spirituality, all of that, it's so easy to be romanced into the metaphysical magic. But all of that metaphysical magic is meant to arise from pure love. And that's when magic is most effective. It's when the medicine of pure love is at the heart of any metaphysical magic. And that's what we all want. We all want to know that we are deeply, completely, and unconditionally loved. We want to know that we're deeply and unconditionally loved by Sophia God, whatever you call God, Buddha, as many of you know. I'll restate it. All names of God are welcome here. Your source, your creator, your creatrix, consciousness loves you completely and unconditionally, no matter what happened to you, no matter what you did 5 minutes ago that you're not proud of. Nothing's changed. But interestingly enough, you want to know that you love yourself as much as Sophia God does. And then the external experience of other people loving you that much is this awesome icing on the cake. But you're the cake. Your own love is the cake. Sophia's love for you is the cake. It's the cake with cake for dessert. It's like cake all over your face. Just eating that cake, like without a fork, just sticking your face in the cake and just eating that birthday cake every day of like, I love myself this much and I don't know if this is okay. And I'm just going to keep loving myself and stuffing my face with this cake of self-love. It's just like, that's the party we all want to go to. No matter how much the world may be melting down, no matter how many clients you have or responsibilities you have, or how many clients you don't have, or how many responsibilities you wish you had, either way, you still want to show up every day to eating cake, the cake of your own self-love. So I didn't know that was the journey that I was on after what I had survived. And for those of you new to this transmission, there's a brief overlay outline of what I survived in the preface of my book, The Sophia Code. And my next book will be sharing in detail that I've already started working on. So that's exciting that that's coming. And then we'll continue on with the codex after that's released. But okay, but I want to come back. At that time in my life, I didn't know that I was on this journey to discover what the meaning of love was, because my life was void of love. Like I'm not even exaggerating when I say I didn't have a single person for the first half of my life. And that's a long time. No matter how old you think I am, it's like that's actually a really long time. And in those years, there was no one embodying an unconditional loving presence, let alone anything nice or kind. It was pure hatred and atrocity and evil and abuse. People who enjoyed those things, like actually found enjoyment in those things. And the journey that I was on was to discover unconditional love from within. That it was so that it would be such a pure discovery that I could share with the world, that no one has any excuse to not be loving based on some idea that someone has to show you outside of you what that means. It's actually not true, because your love is invincible. The divine love of your soul is you. You are actually the divine love that you're seeking. It's actually what makes up everything in your divine genome. All of your qualities of divinity arise out of the love of Sophia that became you as a soul. So although it's ideal to have people modeling for us what healthy love looks like, you don't have to have grown up in a society or in a family structure with healthy examples of love to discover what love is inside of you. I think that's good news, because I think there's most people grow up in our world in very imbalanced, codependent, unhealthy, and even abusive environments. And it's important for us to know that we are not limited by what we were projected onto, what we were learning from. To gather all these wounds, that was really the same thing as gathering all of our medicine bundles. So in this journey that was so isolating for me for so many years, and then you layer on top of that I had, these talents and gifts that were already kind of isolating me from people as it already was. I didn't know how to function in so many ways with both my creative gifts and as a channel. It just always felt as though, yeah, there was just a lot of people in my reality that were mirroring to me that the woundedness of what I was raised in, that really took advantage of me. So there was many, many years where I couldn't trust anyone outside of me. And, sometimes we would say, well, that's not good. Sorry, I feel so sorry for you. And it's just like, actually, now that I look back at it, it's like a really great thing. I got to discover what it meant to trust myself. I got to discover what it meant to trust my own love for myself and to trust my own intuition about what's right for me. And that's the journey that Kuan Yin went on with her own relationship with herself in the jungle of her grief. And it's the journey that you are on as well, in this wild planetary matrix that you and I have descended into as earth angels. There's just so much woundedness here in the collective, and also within our own journeys here. And again, we could look at that as something that we have to try to shy away from and not talk about and sweep under the rug and just say, it's cool, it's fine. If I just focus on the positive, it'll just go away. And it's just like, yeah, we all need to have positive faith and hope, but it is the presencing with the wound, acknowledging it, being fully present to why it's there, and walking all the way through it with compassion and love, that you get to access even more understanding of how much there was a perfect plan for you to experience that wound. There was a perfect plan for how you were going to heal that wound. There was a perfect plan for how you were going to share the blessings of what you gained through the journey of that recovery from that wound. And that there's a perfect plan for even if you have to return to that wound, because there's even more spiritual gold behind it, which is like the letting go of control and perfectionism. There is a perfect plan designed by your higher self that's really going to be highlighted over these next 7 years with this extraordinary influence of Chiron in Aries. So coming back to that practical tip that I wanted to get to like 10 minutes ago, this is my first statue of Kuan Yin that I ever bought. And, I've had many have come and go in my life since this first one. I don't know if I could ever give this one up. At that time, like I said, I was just thawing out enough. I had been in a yoga practice for about 3 years, and I could start to feel my skin again. I could actually feel sensations on my body again. I could feel the breath in my belly when I was doing yoga. I really started to practice Tibetan Buddhist meditation, and I was just really going through it was really the beginning of my my healing journey from what I survived. And I was in a Tibetan Buddhist shop, and I hear a voice from across the shop, and the voice said, "Take me home." And I thought, who said that? And I look across the room, and I see this statue, and I walked up to the statue, and I read about Kuan Yin. And at that time, I hadn't personally met Kuan Yin in the spirit world. I was so focused on other energies and working with other masters, and I wasn't ready to receive her. I didn't have it in my consciousness to receive her in that way at that time. And I asked the shopkeeper, I said, "Who is this?" He said, "Oh, this is Kuan Yin, and she's the goddess of mercy and compassion." And I said, "Well, she told me I'm supposed to bring her home." And he said, "Well, then you should bring her home." And I thought, "Oh, yeah, then I should bring her home." and I brought Kuan Yin home, and that was the first. And I thought, I should do something with this statue. Like maybe there's supposed to be like candles or rocks or something around it. Yeah, the queen of altar building, right? All I want to do is build altars wherever I go. And this is that moment that I build my first altar, really, was with this statue. And I was like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing. Is this okay? And I started to feel her presence guiding me and welcoming me and laughing with me and just being like, yeah, it's okay. don't you practice burning this incense? Why don't you move these rocks around my statue into different patterns? Why don't you put some flowers here? Why don't you put a plant here? Why don't you put a meditation mat next to here? And within 6 weeks, my life was totally changed. I was meditating every day. I was going really deep with some spiritual guides that I was aware of prior to Kuan Yin's arrival in my life. And I started journaling a lot. And what I noticed was that creating an altar space gave me this interface, like a user interface and touchstones to understand, oh, this is why I sprinkled rose petals here, or this is why I placed this book here with these flowers. This is why I put these candles here. These are reflecting different things that I am healing within me. I externalized my healing through my altar practice. I didn't know I was doing that, but that's what was happening. And it was from that first altar that I built in that loft space in Boston, Massachusetts, that, launched 1,000 altar ships into the night, which, eventually was a big part of birthing the Sophia code cosmology. So what I discovered at that time was that every time I looked at the statue or a picture or statue of Kuan Yin, it softened my mind to myself. I knew that Kuan Yin was teaching me compassion towards myself. I knew that she was asking me to love myself, and I knew that I didn't know how to do that. So every time I spent time with a Kuan Yin statue or looked upon it in my home, I just immediately softened. And a stone isn't a jagged edge stone isn't softened down by water with just one sweep of a river. A jagged stone is softened over, years of water running over it. And every time you just think one soft thought towards yourself, you're softening the hardened edges of your trauma, of your wounding, of self-hatred or self-sabotage. You're softening to the possibility of where the waters of more love and more compassion can start to seep and saturate into your life. Eventually, I ended up building altars all over my home because that's how many reminders I needed to remember that I was worthy of that much love. And out of that self-love practice, I've taught thousands of people around the world how to build altars in their homes that are consecrated for them to create experiences, moments that soften them to their own love, to the love of their higher self, to the love of their divinity filling their body, whenever they so choose to soften and breathe and allow that to happen for them. The reason why I felt so passionate about creating the jewelry line that I created was because I knew these were mini altars that I could wear wherever I was going to go. It's come to the point where I travel for my ministry and for my businesses more than I'm home. And you know me, I'm still building altars in every hotel room or Airbnb or wherever I got to go for a conference or this or that or video shoot. It's like I'm going to be bringing different things. Of course, I consider the Sophia code always the altar in my room, and then I'll bring little crystals and such. But what I found was that how this jewelry was created was so magical. It was so ordained. There was such a spiritual journey for these pieces to be manifested into form, and that they truly are an angelic ascension technology. And so what I realized was every time I have to travel now, I can't be lugging statues and all these things, huge crystals around with me, although Lord knows I tried for a year or two. Lug everything around with me. That's how much I needed my touchstones for self-love and self-compassion. But then I realized, oh my God, I can create this jewelry, which in Egypt, jewelry were talismans, they were touchstones, they were amulets of that same altar energy that you experience when you build an altar that you would wear on your body. And I thought, well, what better way to regenerate my body, to upgrade my body, to create a container of light, matrices of light around my body than to program and literally hand carve these very powerful intentions into this jewelry line. And I did it for each of the key codes. This is a 50-piece line, and it's just the beginning. It's just the first collection, just like this is just the first book of the codex. Yes, there are more coming. There's going to be a book for each of the key codes features here and beyond. We've been building this mystery school and this ministry brick by brick very quickly since the book's release, but it's still a massive labor of love to show up to every day, and books take time. So thank you for your patience as each of these temple bricks are built in accordance to a divine plan for an international movement. This isn't just a couple of books here or there, a couple pieces of jewelry. This is a full-blown mystery school downloaded directly from the Sophia Dragon Tribe that I and my team are building every day. So I'm so grateful to be here with you in that energy. So I'm going to just share a little bit about this Quan Yin Keycode 6 wristlet that I had created. So I'll put it up to the camera. I don't know if you can see it. Can you see how the light catches on all of the pounding on the bracelet? Oh my God, I love that so much. Yeah. I'm not even kidding you. I sat with a guy who was hammering this for literally, I think it took 5 days to get the perfect hammering. Hi, my moon's in Virgo. So like when I create something, I want it to be the most beautiful expression that it can possibly be. And so literally I made prayers and ceremony with this man who was hand pounding the master that was being made for this. And then what we did is we literally found someone who could laser these words, because I wanted the font from the book to be the font that was used in the jewelry, because I wanted everyone to understand that the transmission of the words, which by the way, I spent countless hours co-designing with the person that was putting this book together for me. Like everything about this book is designed according to sacred geometry and angelic numbers. The spacing between each line, the spacing of every paragraph, the entire layout is based on the golden mean proportion. Like I wanted that same level of Sophia's angelic ascension technology to be created into this jewelry line as well. So the font is the same from the book. And every single letter has been personally hand-kerned by me, every space between every letter, because that's really important to me as well. And what we have on here are 3 phrases from Quan Yin's chapter. Embody grace, quench the hearts of all beings with compassion, and let love flow. And we have a triangle inside a circle, which is a symbol for divine feminine Christ consciousness. And this one is the descent of divine feminine Christ consciousness descending onto earth through your higher self embodiment. And then we have the ascendant of divine feminine Christ consciousness, this symbol in between the phrases. And that is what happens when you embody your higher self. You are a part of the ascension of this planet through your divine feminine Christ consciousness, or masculine, whatever, or both, simultaneously balanced through your higher self embodiment, radiating out through your eyes, your smile, your heart, your life. And so that's what this jewelry is designed to do, as ascension technology. It's designed to be continually upgrading your meridians, especially when you wear a Keycode wristlet or one of the bangles that I've designed. The Sophia Stargate and the Seraphim Stargate are twin sister Stargates. So when you wear these beautiful wristlets or bangles on your wrists, you're activating the meridians that literally travel up to your heart line. You're also protecting your wrists as gateway entry points. It casts a field of Christ's light that only allows for positive energy to come through. There's different gateways in your body that can leave you, let's say, vulnerable to lower level energies or entities. So this jewelry is designed to protect those gateways of your body and your chakra systems and your meridians from being interfered with by anything that wouldn't have your highest and best good. and simultaneously it's aligning you with the ascended master of that piece of jewelry, or the angelic order, or all of it, depending on what your intention is when you put on your jewelry. What it's doing is it's really saying, this is what I'm aligning with today. This is the vibration that I want to live in today. This is what I'm choosing to embody today. I don't know what you're doing out there, world, but I know what I'm doing. I'm wearing my prayer. I'm embodying this prayer. And it literally anchors that Keycode's mentorship with you throughout the day that you're wearing it. And when you place your jewelry on your altar, on your copy of the Sophia code, it's broadcasting that transmission and those teachings into the space as well. So imagine if it can just broadcast the transmission into a space simply by being there, what it's going to do to your body, what it's going to do to your heart chakra, to these incredible destiny lines and meridian lines running directly into your heart. Really special. I'm also wearing the Quan Yin Mala that I designed. This is howlite and jasper we have this in silver and brass. And so this is Kuan Yin's pendant. You can either get this as a pendant or as the mala. The malas are limited edition. There's only, I believe they're very limited, actually. There's also, so if you're really into it, it probably won't last through 2019. So if you do have a prayer for the mala, please be sure to get it within 2019, because they'll never be designed like this ever again. There's only a certain amount of crystals like this that we could find. So in the front and the back of the Kuan Yin's pendant, it's really hard to see in this light, but there's a pink lotus flower with ocean of karuna compassion that is encircling the word karuna. So this I created as a touchstone. So whenever I'm having a really challenging day with loving myself or feeling love for myself or compassion for myself, I can just hold this almost like, as strange as it may sound, it's like a button. Like, hey, turn this thing on. I need some karuna compassion for myself today. This is a touchstone to tap into what's encoded here and then broadcast that to my higher self, saying it's almost like as soon as you touch the medallion, we call this the Kuan Yin Waters of Compassion medallion. Physical touch is a prayer. You know that when you offer a hug to someone you love, or you place your hand lovingly on their face, or you place your hand on their shoulder, it's a touching of consciousness to consciousness. You're saying, hey, I see you. Hey, I want to help you move energy. That's what happens when you touch a medallion like this. It's saying, I believe in myself enough that I'm going to take this step of faith. I'm going to make a quick prayer and take a deep breath. I'm going to choose something new right now. That's what happens when you touch the rippling of the Keycode wristlet. That's what happens when you touch this beautiful hand-carved pendant. That's what happens when you pray with these beads on this mala. You're making an embodied physical prayer. You're saying, I'm taking courage and I'm choosing a higher path. I'm choosing to vibrate in the resonance that Kuan Yin is vibrating at, which is masterful, self-love, self-compassion that affects people beyond their understanding. On the other side of the pendant, we have a beautiful yin-yang, Taoist yin-yang that represents the balance of divine masculine and divine feminine Christ energies within you. And so when you wear this pendant, it brings you into the wholeness of that's encoded here. And we have the masculine represented by this beautiful angelic wing, and that also represents the presence of Babaji. And then we have these beautiful Sophia dragon scales that are climbing up the other side of the yin yang, and that's to represent Kuan Yin and their twin flame relationship that created such a significant impact on this planet through their partnership, their spiritual partnership. So that's a little bit about some of the Keycode 6 collection. There's more pieces. There's a bangle with Kuan Yin's mantra, Om Mani Padme Hum. That's part of the Divine Mother of Protection set. But for tonight, we promised to give away this beautiful Keycode 6 wristlet in solid brass, and we're going to announce that very shortly. I'd like to do a bit of a healing transmission with you before we do the giveaway. So let's just open our hearts in meditation with Kuan Yin. And I'd like to just remind you that you can start where you're at with self-love and self-care and self-compassion. If you're like, I'm horrible at that, can't even feel it. you're watching this. That means you're very interested in it. That means you do have an active prayer. It means you are on your way for things to feeling very different. And I invite you to get a copy of the Sophia Code. Find yourself a statue of Kuan Yin. It doesn't have to be big. It could be very small. Or you could purchase a piece of the jewelry and you could make that your altar. It's just like light a candle and have it in a place in your home that your eyes rest upon often. You could also place a picture of yourself at a certain age where you know, oh, that's when the wounding really happened around a particular issue that I can't seem to get my head around. It's like, put a picture of your child, of your inner child at that age. Maybe it was 7 years old, next to a statue of Kuan Yin, and ask Kuan Yin to be sending healing energy to you at that age. And then every time you see that picture of yourself as a child next to the statue of Kuan Yin, you're sending healing energy to that part of yourself. You see how this works? You take one action step toward that represents love, more love begins to be mirrored back to you, and then more love is generated, and then more creativity happens. It's really fascinating and it's very special. Let's step together for a moment into meditation and prayer. Holy Mother, Sophia God, Holy Father, Sophia God, Creator, Creatrix of all life, thank you so much for the opportunity to remember that we are truly love embodied in human form. We are actually your love embodied in human form. That's what you created us to be, and so that's what we are. Nothing that happened to us and no one can ever take that away from us or separate us from that truth. We call into your Holy Spirit light that is our Holy Spirit light, and we claim this presence of the Holy Spirit, of that one Buddha Christ light that we have all been made in the image and likeness of, that is our truest, most authentic self. And we allow that light to now vibrate the resonance of Keycode 6 divine qualities within every part of our body, heart, and mind. We welcome the presence of Kuan Yin to come forward, placing her hands upon our shoulders, blessing our crown chakras. As she places one of her hands on the back of your heart, as she begins to chant over you, Om Mani Padme Hum. I welcome you where, we can chant Om Mani Padme Hum together here for a few times. Let's do it 10 times together. Om Mani Padme Hum. 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 Taking a deep breath in, I invite you to exhale any stresses or weight, heaviness, burdens that you've been carrying this week, as you might have felt that intensity of Chiron pressing down on your mind or your heart. And in this moment, I invite you to imagine that you are sitting at a waterfall with Quan Yin. It's the perfect temperature. It's like twilight and the stars are starting to twinkle in the sky. The full moon is starting to rise. And there's this warm, balmy air that surrounds you. The sense of peace You are very held and you are very loved in this moment. Just allow yourself to breathe in the smell of water. Have you ever noticed the smell of water when you're around large bodies of water, especially a waterfall or a river? It's so refreshing. Breathing in the spirit of water. Just allowing yourself to breathe in that refreshing consciousness. In this moment, I invite you to allow Kuan Yin to smile at you and bless you. Her presence is very soft and very powerful all at once, and she's very interested in who you are. You may feel or see rays of light radiating out from her face. You may hear or feel music from her heart in your heart. You may notice birds singing by the waterfall, the water flowing by you, speaking to you, laughing with joy. The stillness of this moment has arrived with Kuan Yin. And at this time, Kuan Yin is welcoming you to take this moment of peace and quiet with her, to drop in with your inner child. Maybe in this moment, you could imagine that there's a certain age of your inner child that wants to sit here at the waterfall with you. And she or he is just been waiting all day to come sit with you at this during this Kuan Yin transmission. Just like, oh my God, I know she's gonna sit with me at that waterfall. But they might feel shy or they might feel hesitant. So I welcome you to feel the love of Kuan Yin. If you can't feel the love within yourself, which again, no judgment, welcoming your inner child to come and sit here at the waterfall with you. Up, there they are. I invite you to just open your arms and let your beautiful child come and rest in your arms as you would if any beautiful little child outside of you ran up to you and said, I want a hug. Hug me, auntie. Hug me, mommy. Hug me, daddy. Right? Welcome that child home right into your arms. Even if you're like, I don't know how to hold this child. I'm so nervous. What if I do the wrong thing? That's okay. Kuan Yin's there with you. She's going to teach you how to parent this inner child in any way. Maybe the child has shown up crying. Maybe the child has shown up wounded. Maybe the child has shown up looking stellar, like in her Phoenix or his Phoenix child form, in their Sunday best. However they show up is perfect for this moment. It doesn't have to be controlled or understood. You can allow this moment to unfold like the water just flowing right by you. So the first prayer that we find in this Keycode Wristlette is Embody Grace. Let's make the prayer right now by the waterfall with Kuan Yin. Holy Mother, Sophia, creatrix of all life, both within me and all around me, it is my prayer to embody grace as a spiritually mature divine parent for my inner child now. That is my intention moving forward from this moment of my life and every day forward, that every day I will grow in love and respect and kindness for this beautiful, perfect child in my arms. And so it is by the power. It is done, it is done, it is done by the power of three, a perfect Trinity. It is done and set into motion now. Just breathing into that and then just feeling how that inner child just sort of rolls in closer to you. You know when a little kid just snuggles in deeper, like a bunny or a kitty just tries to get right into your heart chakra. Just like, oh, I can't seem to get as close enough into you. They want to snuggle you so hard. That's how much they feel safe with you, and they love you so much, and they look to you for safety. That's what this inner child is looking to you for right now. So as you feel your wonderful inner child just snuggling in closer to your heart, into your arms and your embrace, Kuan Yin is coming over with her vase of compassion, and she's anointing your beautiful inner child and your own third eye with a blessing, a water blessing of how to see yourself more clearly, how to receive the gift of your own love beyond understanding and beyond anybody else's permission for you to receive it. Many of us are trapped in the trauma of the past where we're waiting for someone outside of ourselves to give us permission to love ourselves. Well, if we do need something like that, let it be this moment right now. Why not? Why not you choosing to show up to this Facebook Live be the permission slip that you were looking for today? And let that the joy of that you are being intuitively guided in all ways ripple through you. Oh, I know exactly what I'm doing. Even when I don't have any idea what I'm doing, my higher self is guiding me perfectly in this moment. And just feeling the presence of your inner child softening into you. And then we turn to the other side of the Keycode wristlet, which says, let love flow. So in this moment, let's make the prayer. Holy Mother, Holy Father, Sophia, source of all life, I don't know what I'm doing, and I need help in how to love this child the way this child needs to be loved. Please help me. Let love flow through me towards this part of myself that I'm unfamiliar with. I didn't know needed this much attention within me. I had no idea they were this talented, and I've been subtly or subconsciously feeling really guilty that I didn't know how to support the talents of my inner child. You know, there are so many ways that we can blame ourselves for not parenting our inner children when we just didn't even know they were there or what to do for them. So when we let love flow in this prayer, Sophia, God, teach me how to forgive myself as a parent to this inner child, and then teach me how to move on and let love flow. Show me, Sophia, guide me and how to flow with the currents of your love flowing through me, teaching me how to love in a new way. Oh, Sophia, please free me from the belief system that somehow I have to have all the answers to know how to perfectly love someone or something. Oh, Sophia, please free me of the internal punisher that would say, I'm not even worthy of the love that's coming from my own heart to me. Help me let go and help me let love flow now. I'm clearly not in control. Clearly there's something much higher than me. That is me, but it's not my human awareness that's really in control here in the best way. Show me how easy and graceful it can be, Sophia God, for love to flow in my life now in new and exciting and unexpected and spontaneous ways that are easy for me to integrate and soften my heart to accept that life and love can flow this much in my life now. And so it is. It is done. It is done. It is done by the power of three, a perfect Trinity. It is done. You're just feeling that shift across your emotional bodies, your physical bodies, your mental, spiritual, causal bodies. Just let the rippling of Kuan Yin's karuna compassion just sort of rearrange you, soften you according to your higher self's directive. And then we come to the prayer at the center of the Keycode wristlet. I'm going to have to put it up to the light to read it. It says, quench the hearts of all beings with compassion. So each of us has a prayer to do that. Whether we know it or not, that is your prayer, or you wouldn't be here, because this world requires compassion for consciousness to shift, evolve, grow, and expand in new ways. It's not possible for it to shift without compassion. Wounding will continue to cycle itself until compassion has arisen. And with the compassion comes new awareness as to how to create in new ways. So for us to quench the hearts of all beings with compassion, let us now make the prayer together that we are going to quench our own hearts with compassion moving forward from this day onward. Holy Mother, Sophia God, here in the witnessing presence of Quan Yin, our beloved Keycode 6 mentor, we welcome your holy light, guiding our awareness, creating new neurological pathways of self-compassion and self-love in every present moment, so that we may bring this medicine of karuna compassion to our own hearts first. And in the embodiment of this love for ourselves, this compassion for ourselves, that we will begin to radiate a great and powerful and even mysterious divine feminine Christ light out from our bodies, our minds, and our hearts into this world that by default quenches all of life, all beings here with the heart of compassion. May this be my prayer, that as I embody this much love and compassion for myself, that all beings are liberated and benefit from the success of me prospering in this much love. Isn't that the ministry? Isn't that the good news? And so I'm welcoming Kuan Yin. I'm acknowledging that I'm seeing Kuan Yin's beautiful rose quartz ray and aquamarine ray joining with her piercing white light ray, which you can read about in the Sophia Code, enveloping your auric field and your physical body with the gift of her presence and her mentorship, sealing these prayers and prayerful intentions now as answered prayers. And I'm seeing these rays of light surrounding you in a dragon's egg of quantum healing, but then it creates a quantum ray of light that shoots out from your heart and creates a new quantum timeline for your answered prayer to be manifested in your life on an accelerated lightning path of blessings and change, welcome change. It is easy to integrate and easy to acknowledge, recognize, and identify. I'm hearing from Kuan Yin over the next 6 months. She's saying everyone that is participating in this broadcast has a prayer to step onto an accelerated quantum timeline where we're just not confused about what we're doing. We're very clear. Everything's very clear with Kuan Yin. She makes everything. That's why it's a piercing white light. It's like everything is very, very clear. Okay, this is what we're working on now. This is what we're healing now. This is where we're focused now. This is the deal. The deal is we're becoming our most authentic, embodied divine selves in our most authentic, human, self-loving, self-compassionate experience. If we set our intention now, the next 7 years, we got this. We own it. We're going to boss it out with all of our feelings about it. Anger. Okay, I'm angry. Sadness. Okay, I'm sad. Codependency. Okay, I'm still stuck in this codependent thing, and I've got a prayer that I'm frustrated enough that I'm going to do something to change that. I'm going to start being more proactive about the decisions I make in my relationships. It's just like, it's all okay because we're clear about what our commission is from Kuan Yin. We just set the course with that quantum timeline, literally like a light ray beaming out of our hearts, setting our course like a compass for the next 6 months. And those next 6 months where we understand, oh, I am fully embracing this Chiron energy to identify what I'm healing so that I can be fully empowered with these wounds and reaping, like harvesting the benefit of all the medicine and blessings, the prosperous medicine and blessings that are my divine right to receive, have, and share with others, because I was the one courageous enough to go through the wounding process. If you're courageous enough to go through your wounding process, you must be courageous enough to receive the blessings for what you survived. There it is. That's the message. Boom. let that one flow through you like a waterfall. If you were courageous enough to go through the hell that you, or whatever the suffering it is that was the wounding, you've got to be courageous enough to claim the prize of the medicine behind the wound. And you're just the earth angel for that job, to love yourself that much. Especially with Quan Yin by your side. I know Quan Yin helps me heal the absolute impossible, to be able to sit here and send you this much love from my heart to your heart tonight. And I am praying for you, and I'm praying for your life. I'm praying for your ministries. I'm praying for your businesses. I'm praying for your sacred paths. Praying for your families and your children that are all going to benefit from this evening's time together with Kuan Yin. Knowing that your higher self is just drinking up her transmission tonight and blessing your body, heart, and mind in both known and unknown ways that are going to unfold over the next 6 months with significant blessings and a significant impact for your highest and best good. And so it is. It is done, it is done, it is done. By the power of 3, a perfect Trinity, it is done. So now that that's taken care of, we're clear about what's going on right now. I think it's time to share a little bit about our winner, which I'm really excited about, for this beautiful Keycode 6 Wristlette giveaway that we're doing tonight. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention the reason why we did the Quan Yin transmission tonight, and the reason why we're giving away the Keycode Wristlette is in honor of the fact that we have 3 overlighting mentors from the Sophia code that we're going to be working with in Hawaii on the Big Island this summer. And Quan Yin, we're going to spend an entire day with Quan Yin, with movement and ceremony and sound healing, and we're going to be doing all of this overlooking the ocean. We're going to be in this incredible ballroom staring at the ocean the whole time I'm channeling Kuan Yin, and we're going to have other facilitators blessing you as well. This is a not to be missed divine feminine healing immersive that had risen from my heart because I have done so much personal healing and reconciliation with myself in Hawaii that I'm really going to be focusing my temple ministries in the state of Hawaii over the next couple of years. And so this conference is a prayer for that's laying the foundation for a much bigger prayer of a temple space coming there over the next few years. And we're just going to have such an amazing time with Kuan Yin doing water ceremony. And it's really affordable. 3 full days of quantum healing on the Big Island of Hawaii, and one of the most beautiful beaches in the world, for only $14.95 for 3 days. And we have payment plans to make that a really easy yes for you. So I wanted this to be a really easy yes because I know how important self-care is for this journey, this Chiron journey of the wounded healer archetype. It's fascinating to me. I did the same thing last year with the Hawaii retreat. I planned the Hawaii retreat in February of last year, and then we were at the same place in August. And this is the same formula I'm doing this year because it was such a perfect blueprint to go from that Aquarian cycle to that Leo cycle. It's like you plant the seeds and then you're seen in the planting of the seeds, the intentions coming into fruition in August. And so my intention was like, whoa, I want to create a healing retreat that I would want to go to, where I could just bask for days in paradise with the Ascended Masters, helping me refill my well. So because I'm giving all of the time. So this healing immersive is really designed for the healers. It's really designed for those of you who are out there giving, of your heart every day in your offering and your ministry, to just come and let go, just like we did in the meditation. Let go into the flow with Kuan Yin and Green Tara and Mother Mary, and have everything upgraded for you. Look at all these places in your life that you've been wanting to sit still enough to just be in prayer and receive guidance from the Ascended Masters, receive activations where you can just be like, okay, you know what? I've got this. The insight So much of my insight happens when I'm sitting in the bathtub or, out in nature, or just taking a moment in meditation or prayer and just being like, wait a minute, I can't figure this out with my mind. I need to go dial in with Sophia. I need to relax. I need to let go. I need to stop controlling an outcome for my healing or for the solution that I want to, arise. And that's where your Phoenix child may be guiding you, is to come and give yourself that gift of a full 3 days, receiving at that level and listening at that level, listening to yourself and your own heart at that level, and deepening in your mentor relationship with Kuan Yin. 1 day with Kuan Yin, an entire day spent with Kuan Yin, could change the rest of your life. I mean, to spend that much time receiving blessings and healing and being in meditation and movement with Kuan Yin, talk about building your mentor relationship on a whole new level that can serve you every day of your life as you deepen in her teachings of how to love yourself and how compassion for yourself. So I could go on and on about how excited I am about Hawaii and being there with you and being on the Big Island, being in paradise and hanging out with the Cinnamon Masters and my most favorite people in the whole world. But, you can just learn more about it on my website, kaiara.com. And we have our team angels are happy to answer any of your questions about what that would feel like for you. And so let's move on to our jewelry giveaway. I'm so grateful to each of you being here, so present. Okay, so our winner is Sonia Hubbard. And I'm just so excited for you, Sonia. Oh my gosh, this huge bird just flew by the window right as I said that. Good sign. Congratulations. I'm just so excited. Why don't you reach out to our team angels, and we'll be happy to send you a very blessed Keycode 6 wristlet in honor of all of the self-love and self-compassion that you've been offering yourself. I'm hearing that you've really made a commitment over the past year to step into a much deeper communion with your authentic self and with the truth of who you are as a healer. And Kuan Yin is saying that she's actively working with you day and night to heal the places and spaces within you that previously felt unlovable to you. But she's saying that you had a massive breakthrough this year. And this is her way of communicating to you the exceptional self-care and self-love that you've been demonstrating in your life to yourself. And she's saying that everything that you've been giving to yourself is going to be deeply impacting your ministry and how you're going to be serving others, which will then bring additional blessings back to you. So it's just like self-love and self-care is always a win-win-win, a trinity of wins, in answer to our prayer to quench the hearts of all being with compassion, including yours. I cannot tell you how much I love all of you so much. I could go on about it all night long. Thank you from my heart to yours. Deepest blessings. Namaste. I look forward to doing our next Facebook Live with Mother Mary very soon. I think we're going to do it in May, and we're going to do it at the Mauna Kea Beach Hotel. We're going to do a walkthrough of the hotel so I can show you where we're going to be. All the magic is going to happen, and I'm just really excited about it. There's so many cool things coming over this next year for our community. Including our new membership website, which is being built out right now by our amazing team angel Jess. And we're just so grateful for all of your patience, all of your support, all of your enthusiasm, and all of your prayers. This is truly an international ministry that is happening with all of our hearts working together as one. So I will stop now. Mwah! I love you. Thank you. Have a blessed night. Namaste.